My name is Leanne Knight, and I grew up in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And I work as a managing partner in my company, Better Money Decisions, which is based in Santa Fe, New Mexico. So, a financial planner and often gets coupled with an investment advisor, and we have two roles, and we really try and help individuals and families plan for their future. And it's a very goals based relationship with clients. We want to understand what you want to do in your life, both your short term, your medium term, and your long term goals. And then we want to help you figure out how to save for that, how to invest successfully for it, and make sure that you can do those things you really want to do with your money. We do use math every day. Um, I would say it's a lot of, formulas, a lot of projecting using some statistics, some statistical projections. Uh, we also, you probably use a little bit of algebra too, trying to understand if we change one variable, what happens to the equation. So yes, those basic math skills come in handy every day. Now, of course, we use a lot of programs that will help us with that math and make it faster, but we certainly have to understand how it works. And we use some planning software. We use Excel spreadsheets a lot. Uh, but we also have to make sure we have good, strong communication skills. So we're writing every day as well, and talking with clients, sometimes about very sensitive topics. And we have to be able to explain that math and make sure that it's not too complicated. And making sure that they really can communicate back to us. We have to be good listeners as well. My parents were not investors. They did a pretty good job of teaching us to save our money, but they didn't really teach us anything about what to do with it other than save it. So I was always very curious when I would meet other people who were investing in the stock market. And so for me, I really wanted to learn what that was about. And so my, by the way, my undergraduate degree is not in anything to do with math or investing. I was an international relations major, but along the way, I really developed this interest in trying to understand something that I didn't understand. It was a puzzle, but other people had seemed to have it figured out. So I took some classes on basic investing, and I really kind of fell in love with the stock stories and what companies did for a living. So, and I think that journey to understanding that investments are interesting, but they're really just the tools to help you achieve what you want in life, really led me then into the financial planning part of this and really understanding what drive somebody's emotions. Money comes with a lot of emotion. What really, is important to people. I have been in this business since about 1986 in one form or another, and worked for big companies, very large international companies, and then smaller companies. And I eventually realized that one, wanted more flexibility to do things the way I thought they should be done and to be my own boss. So the certification that's most important in my job is a CFP, or Certified Financial Planner. And you can get that. There are more and more programs, undergraduate programs in financial planning that will get you to be ready to take the CFP test. I also, not that long ago, went back and got my master's in financial planning so that I would really have just that much more knowledge around these different areas. And that can include everything from learning about estate planning, learning about how different types of insurance, learning about tax planning, retirement planning, designing cash flow strategies, and also, again, learning about that kind of life planning overlay around behavior and attitudes. Well, I think my high school experience was probably pretty typical. At times, I worried more about what was happening socially than what was happening in the classroom. But I did have very good teachers, and I think I'll actually start with my biggest regret in high school is that I wanted to do so well in each of my classes that I probably didn't take some classes that would have pushed me to learn something different because I didn't want to get a bad grade. So if I had to do it over again, I would probably take a few more science classes. I would maybe take some acting classes, things that might not be my strong suit, but I would have learned more. Um, but that aside, I did have some wonderful classes, and you know, learned. I think learned how to ask questions in a classroom. I think that was so important, no matter what the course was, whether it was a math course or a history course. Um, to sit back and listen. And I realize teachers today often don't let people sit back and listen like they did perhaps when I was in high school. But the more you ask, the more you challenge, the more you engage with whatever the topic is, the more you're going to learn, and the more interesting, frankly, it's going to be, and not be afraid to ask if you need help too. I know I had my toughest math class in high school, my senior year, was calculus, and I that was hard for me, and I really today I'm not sure I could tell you much about calculus, um, but there were things, what I did learn is like, okay, this is hard, but I've got to figure it out. And I spent a lot of time with my teacher that year trying to really understand how this worked. So I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I pushed myself to do something that didn't feel completely comfortable.